Okay, very good. Okay, well, welcome to the Horticulture Webinar Wednesdays. I'm Kelly Jackson, and with me is Darrell Simpson from Muhlenberg County, who's the A&R agent there. And he's going to be talking today a little bit about calibration from the standpoint of backyard home sprays for your lawn, for your garden, those types of things, but specifically about the sprayers. Maybe you can set it up a little bit better than what I'm doing. What else?
No, you've done a good job there. So one thing that I've found is that a lot of folks really don't know how to calibrate sprayers. And so when Kelly and I were talking about this particular topic last fall, we had just dealt with the armyworm invasion. And so we got together and put a nice little video together that you folks will get to see in a bit regarding pull type sprayers that you can use your lawn tractor with. So that also got us thinking about smaller lawns and using sprayers. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about backpack sprayers, which we have a video on that as well, and we'll show you. And then we can get into a bit of the nuts and bolts of calibration. I think the videos do a really good job of that. But we really want folks to understand the importance of calibration. And it's much more simple than one might think. And so I think I'll stop there and maybe we can get into the video and then we'll take it from there.
I will say before we start the videos though, you know, a lot of people just think that they just pour a few glugs of product into the sprayer and then you just start spraying with your little pump up. And if you run out, you go fill it back up, but they're not getting the right type of application when they do that.
Yeah, so it's a really good point that you make. So the glug method does not work.
No.
So there is, you know, it's very important that we do calibrate the sprayer and then we learn the correct amount of material that we put in for both an economic standpoint, but also from the standpoint of what we're putting out in the environment.
On the environment, yeah, because people are always concerned about how much chemical we're putting out, and that's probably the worst method that we could use. And I think what you'll see in these videos too is that when you see some of the equipment that's being used, don't dismiss that immediately and think, well, I don't have a backpack sprayer. I don't have a pull behind sprayer. Maybe the pull behind sprayer may not work for every yard, but at the very end, stay with us through the whole program, because at the very end, you're going to see why maybe you should abandon those little pump ups, those 1 gallon, 2 gallon pump ups, and invest in a backpack sprayer. And we'll save that after we get through the videos.
Yeah. That's good.
So I think they're going to play the video for us.
We're going to talk about sprayer calibration for the home lawn this morning. And so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the equipment that you're going to need. If you notice here, we're actually going to need a tape measure. We're going to need some markers. And so I'm going to use these flags, and we're going to use a cup that actually is measured off in ounces. And so this particular one is. So we're going to need those things to actually calibrate our sprayer correctly so that we can do a good job on spraying our lawn. Before we get into the math on that, a couple publications that I want to refer you to. One is this publication in regards to calibrating boom sprayers for the home lawn. This is one that you can actually go to the University of Kentucky's website, and you can get that publication there. The other publication is the sprayer nozzle selection and calibration publication. You can also get that one from our website. This particular publication is a really good publication on selecting nozzles, but more so, it uses a very simple method called the ounce method, and that's what we're going to be using today to calibrate this lawn sprayer. So the first step in calibrating our boom sprayer is to determine the distance of our nozzle spacing. So the distance between the nozzle on this spray rig is 20 inches. So we'll want to make note of that because that's going to help determine how far we're going to drive. So we're going to use this little cheat sheet here on the sprayer nozzle calibration publication. And if you see, the nozzle spacing was 20 inches. And so if you just follow down, a 20-inch spacing means that we're going to drive 204 feet. So we'll want to make sure that we measure off that distance and drive that distance. We've measured our distance, and now we're going to do a couple more things to get everything ready to go for our sprayer. One of the things that we want to make note of is that we want to be sure that when we calibrate our boom sprayer, we're going to be in the same conditions that we're actually going to be spraying. And so in this instance, we're spraying on a home lawn, and so that's how we're going to, that's the site that we're going to calibrate our sprayer on. So again, I've already measured my distance here based on the publication. I had a 20-inch boom spacing. I had to drive 204 feet, so I've got my distance measured off. So I'm going to be driving in the lawn. And the other thing is I'm going to fill my tank half full of water only. I want to make sure that I just have water in this because I'm actually going to do another step here in a bit to show you something that we need for the ounce method. So, we've driven our distance of 204 foot and we timed that. It took us 38 seconds to drive that 204 feet. So what we're going to do is use our calibration cup and actually collect from this nozzle for 38 seconds. That'll tell us how many ounces that we've collected, and that essentially will be the amount of solution we would be applying on a per acre basis. And so you'll notice that I'm wearing a nitrile glove. Even though I just have water in this tank, I still want to make sure, because this tank has been used before, I want to be sure that I'm using all the safety precautions necessary. And so I'm going to go ahead and collect again for 38 seconds, and once we're done with that, then we'll get an idea as to how much we've collected, and we'll talk from there. So we've collected 15 ounces of water, and it took us 38 seconds to collect that. So by using the ounce method, we now know that we're going to use 15 gallons of water per acre. And again, I want to say that we are putting this on a per acre basis. If your lawn is smaller than that, you will have to do some math. An acre is 43,560 square feet. And so you will need to measure your lawn and do some simple division there to find out how much of an acre you have on that. And then from there, you can do some more math. You can use the previous publication that I mentioned, Calibrating a Boom Sprayer for Lawns. You can use that to help you figure the math on that.
After looking at the video there, hopefully folks are able to see how easy it is to calibrate those pull type sprayers. Very simple. And again, I use a publication. It's the publication PAT3 sprayer nozzle selection and calibration, and it's got the ounce method on the back of it. Very simple steps, just simply taking those measurements initially between the nozzles. From there, going in and driving that distance based on that nozzle selection, and then just moving through those steps as I indicated. The publication again gives you very easy step-by-step process there to get you where you need to be relative to learning the number of gallons of water that you're going to be putting down on your on the area that you're going to be spraying.
And this publication might be hard to find on the internet, but if you go to the website of Kentucky Hort News, we'll have that posted there under the Wednesday webinars. So that's for a larger type yard. So if you've got an acre, or I talked to a guy today that has 3 acres of turf grass that he mows, that's the type of equipment that you're going to look. But what should we be using if we've got a smaller, like a neighborhood type yard?
Yeah, so in those smaller lawns, I'm going to suggest that you use a backpack sprayer. There's so many advantages to using that backpack sprayer. Most of those are set up with piston pump type apparatuses, where that as you're, once you've calibrated that sprayer and as you're moving across the lawn and you're keeping continuous pressure out there, you're going to be able to evenly apply the product that you want applied on that lawn. And so it's just so much easier to do that.
That's the advantage. That's the difference, I guess, between a pump up little 1 gallon versus a backpack, is that it maintains that pressure, which you can't maintain with a pump up.
That's right. Yeah, those small 1 gallon sprayers are intended for spot spraying. So you can, you pump that thing up, you go out and you spot spray, and then it loses its pressure and you've got to pump that again. So, you just can't go across a lawn, even, a 2,000 square foot lawn and use one of those gallon sprayers and expect to get any type of accuracy at all on that.
Right. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So I think the next video that we're going to play kind of shows you the setup and calibration for one of these backpack sprayers. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll watch that and then we'll finish up.
Welcome to Your Kentucky Lawn. In this edition, we are going to talk about calibrating a backpack sprayer.
Calibrating application equipment is critical for proper application rates. It's better for the environment and can save you money. Many people think calibration is only important when applying vast quantities of products over large areas, but it's even important to calibrate backpack sprayers to ensure proper pest control and reduce the possibility of pesticide resistance by using improper rates. Although there are several methods of calibrating these sprayers, today we will discuss the no math method.
There are just a few easy steps to calibrate the backpack sprayer. First, assemble everything you'll need to get the job done. The sprayer, a measuring tape, a stopwatch, and a container that will accurately measure liquid. The method we will be showing is also called the 1/128th method because we will be using an area that is 1/128th of an acre.
To calibrate backpack sprayers, all you'll need to do is measure out a square that is 18.5 by 18.5 feet. It's easiest to do this on concrete rather than on grass because when you're calibrating, you want to be able to see where you're spraying. Fill the sprayer about half full of water and have someone time you with a stopwatch to figure out how long it takes to spray the test area.
Ideally, you should spray the test area 3 times to make sure that your timing is consistent. You will want to make sure your pressure is consistent throughout calibration. Once you get a consistent time, spray the nozzle into a measuring container for the same amount of time it took to spray the test area. Because there are 128 ounces in a gallon and our test area is 1/128th of an acre, you can take the ounces you collect in the container and convert directly to gallons per acre. No math involved. To calibrate spray guns, which are often used in the lawn care industry, the steps are exactly the same. Measure out the area, spray the area 3 times while timing, and spray the gun into a measuring container to determine the gallons per acre. In this example, we collected 30 fluid ounces, and converting that directly to gallons gives us 30 gallons per acre.
All that is left is to read the pesticide label and determine how much chemical to include in your sprayer.
On every pesticide label, you will find the rate needed to be applied. For example, we will look at the label of Teflon ester to find the information we need and finish calibrating our sprayer. The label states that this product needs to be applied at 1/2 to 1 quart per acre. During the calibration of the backpack sprayer, we determined that the sprayer puts out 30 gallons per acre and the tank can hold 3 gallons when full. If we were spraying a whole acre and had a tank that was large enough, we would simply add 1/2 to 1 quart of Teflon ester to the tank along with 30 gallons of water that we figured out earlier, and we could cover the acre. However, because our sprayer won't hold 30 gallons and we aren't looking to cover a whole acre with a backpack sprayer, we need to make some adjustments. To figure out how much pesticide to include in our sprayer, we need to work through this equation. Our tank holds 3 gallons and we have determined that our sprayer puts out 30 gallons per acre. Dividing 3 by 30 gives us 0.1. We then need to multiply this by the pesticide rate per acre. 0.1 times 1 quart per acre gives us 0.1 quarts. We then multiply 0.1 by 32 fluid ounces in a quart to determine how many fluid ounces of pesticide to add to the tank. Once the pesticide amount is determined, you are ready to spray.
Spraying and measuring are the easy parts of calibration, and the math is usually the hard part. By calibrating your equipment using the no math method, we take 99% of the math out of the process. Still, make sure you take your time with the math and even have someone else complete the calculations to make sure you haven't made a simple mistake. Math errors can result in serious problems in the field by applying too much or too little pesticide. With some practice, you can be a calibration pro in no time, and your wallet and the environment will thank you. I'm Greg Munshaw, and this is Your Kentucky Law.
Right. Well, hopefully that was informative. And I don't know how many of you know Greg Munshaw, but he is not with UK anymore, but his videos still are around. And so that's very helpful to show that calibration with the backpack. But we also have some other information that can be helpful too.
Yeah, so Dr. Munshaw did a great job on that particular video and that particular method, the 1/28th method. I've been calibrating backpack sprayers for a while now, and I have a different method that requires more math. And actually, there's going to be it's what I call the instruction/worksheet that's going to be posted for everybody to take a peek at. And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a bit, but just want to talk a little bit about another publication that goes along with the video that Dr. Munshaw put together. It's AGR 220, and we'll post that for you as well. It just takes you through those very same steps that Dr. Munshaw posted for us there in that video. And so it shows you how easy it is to calibrate that backpack sprayer without a lot of math. And then once you get down to knowing how much water you need to apply in the area, then it's pretty simple to do the math on how much pesticide. And when I say pesticide, pesticide is an umbrella term, and whether that's a fungicide, herbicide, rodenticide, insecticide, what have you. And so we use that term pretty universal, pesticide, but you know, we do want to say that that is an umbrella term. So when you are looking to see what you want to spray there, whether it be an herbicide or an insecticide on your lawn. So it is really easy to follow. And as I say, AGR 220 is really going to take you through the math, just like the video showed you there. So it's hard to belabor the point much more than to say that, you know, again, backpack sprayers are really easy to calibrate, much like the pull type sprayers are. And the importance is just, it's, you know, you just can't say enough about the importance of that. I think Dr. Munshaw reiterated my point of both environment and economics there. And it is really important from that standpoint. So the other thing we want
to have a sheet to share too. I think I can pull that up here.
Oh, great. Yeah. If you've got my, my sprayer calibration instructions and worksheet now. So I'm not selling for anybody, but way back when I actually purchased a solo backpack sprayer, and I think I saw the same sprayer there that Dr. Munshaw was using. They actually had an instruction sheet in that, and I went through and looked at that and followed through, and it's pretty straightforward. Again, you know, the same things that we need for calibrating a trailer type sprayer, we need those for the backpack sprayer as well. And you'll notice in my instructions there, I put fill your backpack sprayer half full of water. There's no need to put, obviously put a pesticide in at that point, but you want to put water in that thing right away, because that could very well affect your speed of walking. And so, you know, if you have an empty backpack sprayer, you're probably going to walk a little faster than if you have it half full or completely full. And so that is something to keep in mind as well. Obviously, you need a calibration cup that measures in ounces, because we are doing the ounce method just like we were with that pull type sprayer. Then the measuring tape, and so, or a measuring wheel, something that we can use for that. And so you notice that I've got a measuring wheel or a 300-foot measuring tape, because in this instance, we're not going to do the 1/28th per se, the 1/28th method. We are going to do a straight on math and timed walk. And so as you see there, flag, stopwatch, paper and pen, calculator, and really another person to help you is super important with that. And so if you want to determine the gallons per minute, it's pretty straightforward here. You know, just load the backpack sprayer on, pressurize the sprayer and by continuously pumping that, and then collect the water for 1 minute in the calibration cup. So that's going to measure those ounces and then just record that number. I have not done an example for you here, but again, it's really easy to go through. So as I state here, just the step by step. So do the math, ounces collected in 1 minute divided by 128 ounces. And so I think most everybody knows that there are 128 ounces in a gallon. So record that number and then move to step 2. So just measure the width of the spray pattern in inches. And so again, you'll need preferably a concrete area where that you can, once you can get the sprayer pumped up, just go ahead and depress the trigger on that and then measure the width of that spray pattern. That's going to be really important for you to have that. So once you have that, then, you know, you've got another number that you'll need to keep track of. And again, this worksheet will help you do that. So select someone to keep the time for 1 minute. You know, we're going to mark our start point, and this person is probably going to walk along with you just so that you'll know once you get to the desired distance, you're good to go on that. So, so here we're going to just determine the area covered in the square feet per minute. So we'll mark the starting point, and then we'll select someone to keep time for 1 minute. Load the backpack sprayer on your back and walk at your normal pace for 1 minute, and then mark the end point. And you'll notice that I say you do not have to activate the sprayer. If you want to, so that you can kind of get in practice of that, doing that continuous motion of keeping the sprayer pumped up or pressurized, you can do that if you like. So that's important to do as well. Once you've done that, obviously you're going to measure the distance that you walked in feet, and then do the math. Feet walked in 1 minute times the swath width in feet. Then you're going to record your footage number there. From there, it's just computing the gallons per acre. It's gallons per minute times the 43,560. That's the square foot in an acre, and then divide that by square feet per minute there. So it really takes you through pretty quickly on that. Mine has a little more math to it, and so it can be a little off-putting to some folks. And so, again, showing the video that Dr. Munshaw put together may be the one that you prefer, but if you're not close to your phone or an iPad or some device, then hopefully you'll have this sheet handy and you can just walk through that. And I would say to you, just kind of play with it a little bit, kind of start practicing doing some calibrations out there with your backpack sprayer. And the other thing is, we are in that time of year where that we're going to be doing some spraying. And so if you look around, there's definitely some farm supply stores and centers, the big box stores that are probably going to have these backpack sprayers for sale. And so
maybe on clearance,
or at least a deal. That's right. So it'd be a great time to buy one of those. If you're like me, I go into my storage building and I've got no less than probably 5 1 to 3 gallon sprayers, pump up sprayers. Some are operable, some are not. And so, you're probably going to spend about $100 to $150. And if you get, they now have a battery powered backpack sprayer. If you get that one, you're probably going to spend upwards of $200. My solo sprayer that I have, I've had that thing for years, and it's finally decided to quit on me after probably 20 plus years. But again, I think I gave less than $100 for that way back when. So if you just look at that, the time value there, that thing has been just really worth its money. And
that's a good point. I think a lot of times people want to get, they're just getting by, just going to get the cheapest sprayer, but a 1 gallon sprayer now is at least $20. I want to say maybe a little bit more. And the longevity on those, like you said, I've got some that aren't functional anymore. They've clogged or whatever. And sometimes that first season is about all you get out of that. But where put a little bit more money into a backpack sprayer, it's going to be with you a much longer period of time. They're built to last a much longer period of time.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off.
Well, that's right. And so a good backpack sprayer, some of them even have adjustable pressure settings in the tank. And so the one that I have, it's a piston pump type or style. And so you can just adjust the pressure right there. Right. So I do think your point's valid there. You can spend $20 on a 3 gallon sprayer, just those
every year.
Pressurized every year. And you're going to have one. I mean, like I say, I've got those that are not even functioning anymore. And you can't keep them for parts. I mean, they're just, they're getting to be almost disposable, if you will. So again, that's something to consider on that. I will say to you, for the life of your backpack sprayer, if you do invest in one, be sure and clean that after every use. That's going to be really important. And so, there are some products that stick in the lines. For example, some herbicides will stick in those rubber hoses in your lines. And so you do want to clean that, make sure that that's cleaned up. And that's another topic that we could possibly talk about later on. We do have some videos relative to that in some of our pesticide training materials. But I would say to you, think about purchasing, a good quality sprayer, good quality backpack sprayer. If you've got a smaller lawn, and any of us can help folks out there calibrate those sprayers. It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah. Well, and you've made the math easy. So we'll post this on the website as well, so that you can print that off and kind of follow those steps through there. And Darrell, thanks for coming and putting this topic together for us and making this available to the people. I think I said earlier before the show, I think this is one of those that will be in our video archive that will probably get continually hit over and over and over, because most people don't think about calibrating until it's the time to calibrate at that very moment. So at least we can make those resources. So thanks for coming in. And I don't know if there's any questions out there, but we can probably take a few questions if there are any.
Yeah.